Before we hop into what does it mean to relinquish or let go or surrender, I want to go over how an ego perceives reality. So let's take this line for instance. Let's say that this is a line, and I call this line the manifestation existence barrier. And everything above the line is what the ego takes to be real. This is the physical world with all of its activities and its people and its things in it. And on this side of the line is what it considers to be unreal. This is existence or being or consciousness. And what needs to happen, apparently, to the ego is that it hears this thing called enlightenment, and it realizes that it has to get on the other side of this barrier somehow so that it can experience this down here. And it believes that it has to let go of all of these identities that we've created, right? These identities or these attributes that we built onto ourselves and believe ourselves to be needs to be let go before it can cross this line. And that is the apparent case, is it not? Right? Why are we even talking about relinquishing? What needs to be let go? Why do I have to surrender? And it's because the ego believes this line, this barrier, is real. And the paradox is that once you cross this line, you will see that barrier never existed to begin with. So, what does it mean to relinquish? What are we relinquishing to cross this apparent barrier that is so hard, or appears so hard to cross? Well, I'm going to cover this in two pieces. The first piece is our identities, our attributes, these ideas and imaginations, you could say, of who we believe we are, who we think we are. And these identities are such as, I am a man or a woman, I am a husband or a wife, I am a son or a daughter. You could talk about the qualities of yourself. I am responsible. I have integrity, right? And these attributes that we've added on to ourselves, and these are what we need to relinquish. And this is where I like to say you have to get very honest and direct with yourself, because these are the identities that you need to relinquish. And the paradox is, and it's a beautiful paradox, is that when you relinquish your identities, they come really close. That which you let go of actually becomes one as you. So you can admit that it is intense to say, I'm not a father, or I'm not a mother, or I'm not a son or a daughter, or I'm not responsible. These are serious to an ego. Let it be serious. I understand that. But the paradox is that as you let those go, these so-called relationships between me and other drops into oneness. I am now, you could say, one with my wife, one with my children, one with my mother, one with my friends, one with my responsibilities and integrities and all of that. Everything turns into a verb. It's all verbing. It's all oneness happening as yourself. The second piece of this, I am going to refer to a non-duality session that I just had where somebody asked me this question: what does it mean to relinquish? And the second piece has to do with our will, also known as our vasanas, and how to how to relinquish ourselves to the infinite so that we can cross this imaginary barrier from this realm of suffering up here to this infinite, peaceful, loving realm of our being. And so, and it's a visual. So I've got my hand puppets going in this too, so it can help you understand how to relinquish, because it is you could say, most important, or one of the most important pieces to letting go to self-realize. Take care.
What does it mean to relinquish?
That is a fantastic question. This is the counterintuitiveness of this practice. Thank you for asking this, because this is really it. How to cross this line is by relinquishing. And relinquishing is the opposite of everything that we've ever learned on how to accomplish something. And I like to use I call it the palm and fist example. And if you've watched my videos before, you've probably heard me say this, but it's so relevant to what the experience of relinquishing is. So we're born this free, open palm. We're just being. We're infinite. And somewhere between 4 and 6, we start to hear our mom and dad or brother, sister, grandparent say, "You're cute. You're a boy. You've got dimples," and so on. And we turn our attention away from our being, and we start to identify with what we think is a boy, dimples, and so on. And the moment we turn our attention away, this free floating palm starts to solidify. And as we age through our teens and 20s and 30s and so on, everything that we're out in the world trying to accomplish is a form of identity that is continuing to contract this down into what is believed to be a real person in a physical body in a physical world that runs around like this. It's a fist of contraction. Okay? The work in this fist has been complete. The work is done. Our work in self-enquiry is to break and relinquish this stored work or this stored energy. Right? You could say this fist is stored energy. To break this fist apart and create a free-floating palm out of it, you do not have to put in any more energy into that system. From going from here to here is a relinquishing of energy. It's the absence of energy. Right? So, your experience in self-enquiry is relinquishing these tensions of energy that you have stored in you. These stored tensions are known as your vasanas. They're your will. They move you around. These are the levers that make you who you think you are. And these levers are urges and tendencies that make you want to move away from yourself. And any time you have a tendency come up in self-enquiry, to move away from yourself, such as a thought, I am bored. This is boring, son. There's so many more fun things that we can go do than sit here in silence. That is a tendency. You're relinquishing that tendency and resting back into that tendency. There's no value in this. How can resting in nothingness create something? You're letting that go. Tendencies within your body to move you away, to physically push you away from sitting in silence, to get you to move up and physically move you away from here. That's a physical relinquishing. Okay? Back to somebody cut me off at the light. That's a huge tendency. You're letting that go. So all of these are movements away from yourself. They're this, and the relinquishing is coming back, relinquishing that energy out of those tensions so that you can come home and rest your attention in yourself. Another way I like to say that these tensions to move us away from ourselves are like a spring. If we just set a spring, you know what a slinky is?
No.
If you just set a slinky on your chest, it's in its perfect state. It's in its perfect peaceful form. But if I took that slinky and pulled it away from myself, now there's energy in there. And I have to hold that energy in place, or it will rest back into itself. So these tendencies are basically like springs that are moved you away from yourself. There's energy stored in those, and you're relinquishing the energy stored in that spring so that it can come home to its natural state of peace and contentment.
So these energies these are the things that pull attention away?
Yes.
Okay.